think the best way to start off a series where I'm talking about trying to make 2025 my most successful year ever is by talking about my immediate failure on this series specifically. I'd intended to put a piece of content out every day starting on the 1st of January. You know, new year, new me, content, all of that stuff. I'd been pretty prolific last year in terms of putting content out. But you know, I really wanted to hit the ground running 1st of January 2025, new series, detailing this grand experiment, and I failed immediately. I recorded something on New Year's Eve, but didn't manage to edit that until the 2nd, and the first piece of content didn't go out till the 3rd. So we're not massively behind, but it's exactly this kind of stuff that I want to be open about. The failures are important, they're there. You know, this representation that so many people give online of having these perfect lives with nice cars, big houses, and beautiful partners is so often, you know, masking over the reality that we all have ups and downs. I'm almost positive that even if it's only tiny or it's for a very short amount of time, the Dalai Lama gets annoyed. I know he does, he must do. At some point there must be something that irritates him, and then he goes, actually, you know what? He recognises that and doesn't kind of buy into that feeling, but those feelings must still be there. And whilst we're talking about failure, I want to talk about meditation, because I mentioned it as being a core part of what I want to do over the next year, consistent meditation. Now, one thing I have been good at since the start of the year is that I've meditated every day for about 10 minutes. In fact, the past couple of days, I've meditated for 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening. The morning meditation is on my own in the streaming cabin, and the evening meditation is in bed with my wonderful wife, that we kind of meditate together before we go to sleep. It's a really good way to kind of bookend the day. I mentioned in my last video that meditation can feel a bit kind of new age, socks and sandals, you know, not proven by science, etc., etc. I've got no interest in getting into a debate about whether meditation works objectively. I'm just here to talk about what works for me. And I will often say to people, you know, if I'm talking to people and they say they struggle with anxiety or they struggle with this, I'll always recommend trying meditation, because there have been times where I've really felt like I was going insane, where my anxiety has been so high, and meditation is always the thing that I fall back to because it works for me. And it's really difficult to argue with kind of experiential evidence. Why it works for me, how it works for me, I don't know. But one of the interesting things that I found is that I often get people saying, I can't do meditation. I can't do it. And the reason that they say they can't do it is because they fail at it. They try to meditate and their mind goes too fast. It tells too many stories and there are too many distracting thoughts, and they think they're failing. And that's because they've got into it thinking meditation is about clearing your mind and getting to a state where there are no thoughts in your brain. And I've had some meditations where there have been moments of that, where I've had no thoughts. For me, it's usually very quickly followed by my conscious mind realising that I just had a moment that had no thoughts in it, and therefore ruining it. Me noticing that I've had no thoughts pulls me out of the fact that I've had no thoughts. But actually, the reason I wanted to talk about meditation today when I'm talking about failure is because I think meditation is all about failure. I think it is the process of practicing being more present, practicing being more mindful. And in order to practice, you need distractions, you need distracting thoughts, you need distracting things. Most of those distracting things happen in your brain, but it's a really good way of starting to become more aware of what your thought patterns are and what your reactions are to those thought patterns. Now, the way I meditate, more recently I've been using a lot of guided meditations, and I'll put some links to them down below. Or I will use, I think it's a Tibetan singing bowl, which is a kind of resonant sound, and you can just listen to that for 10 minutes. But the core of it is I focus on and follow my breathing. So I focus on taking deep breaths in through my nose and deep breaths out through my mouth, just like this. And I do that for 10 minutes. And I just try and focus on that breathing. I try and get my brain to focus on the act of breathing in and breathing out. And what happens throughout that 10 minutes is my mind wanders off. A little thought will kind of trickle into my brain. Why does this person think this of you? Why has this person said this to you? Why don't they like you? Why is this person not getting back to me? Why are these people not trusting me to do the work? All of these thought processes, all these stories, and then there's that voice telling me that story, and then another part of my brain notices that I'm not focusing on my breathing anymore. And I go, oh, I've stopped focusing on my breathing. But I try not to judge the fact that I've fallen out of that focus. Try not to judge the fact that this kind of story has implanted itself in my brain. I just try to refocus on my breathing again. And that's all I do. I recognise that I've been telling myself a story, that I've had a distracting thought, and I go back to focusing on my breathing. And I'll focus, and again, inevitably, I will get another distracting thought. Did I leave the hob on? Is there something in the oven? Did I turn the lights off downstairs? What was that bang? Is that bang? Maybe someone's coming through the door. Maybe someone is trying to take their car. I should go down and look. And then again, another part of my brain will recognise that I've been having this distracting thought. I've been telling myself stories. I've been creating stories in my mind. And again, instead of being angry or frustrated that I've been distracted by something, I just return back to focusing on the breathing. And I just do that for 10 minutes. I don't look at my watch. I don't try not to open my eyes. I just sit in a comfortable position, or I'll lie in my bed if I'm doing an evening meditation, and I will take deep breaths in through my nose and deep breaths out through my mouth. That is the act of practicing to be more present and more mindful. That's all it is. Whether you use music to support that, whether you use sounds to support that, whether you use guided meditations, which are often really helpful because they talk you through and they guide you through what to do, they nudge you back into your focus if you're just starting out, and I just keep returning to that. If you feel like you can't meditate because you're having those thoughts, or your mind moves too quickly, or you have too many distracting thoughts, in my opinion, that is exactly the reason you should meditate, because it is the practice of getting better at controlling those stories you tell yourself, controlling that anxiety, controlling those feelings that are constant distractions in our day-to-day life. Now, if, for example, you started to play badminton or tennis, right? And imagine hitting the ball back and forth seamlessly is a perfect meditation. Is you focusing on your breathing and having a completely clear mind. That's what good tennis looks like, I guess, when you're starting out, or good badminton. You're hitting the ball back and forward with your partner seamlessly. If you miss the ball, if you miss the shuttlecock, if you don't get it back, or you hit it and it goes off in a mad direction, you don't chastise yourself and go, I'm never playing this again. I'm never playing tennis again. I'm never playing badminton again. I can't do it. I missed the ball. You go, you know what? I missed the ball. That is part of learning. That's part of me doing it. So you pick up the ball, you pick up the shuttlecock, and you pass it back and forth to your partner again. And if your partner spoofs the ball over the fence, you don't chastise them about it, you don't give them shit. You go and get the ball and you carry on. That's what meditation is. It is the art of practicing to be more mindful. And I've found that if I'm consistent, even just 10 minutes a day, that's all I think it takes. If you want to get deeper into it, you can do longer meditations. As you practice more, you might find that with a longer meditation, you can get deeper into it, you can get more benefits out of it. But starting out for me, 10 minutes a day, either first thing in the morning or last thing at night, preferably when you're not going to be falling asleep though. You want it to be a meditation, not a sleep. So first thing in the morning is a great way to start your day, and you just focus on deep breaths in and deep breaths out. I think even just the act of doing those deep breaths has a massive difference on you, because I think most of the time we're kind of breathing very shallow. I don't think we're effectively breathing most of the time. So I think just the act of doing that is helpful. Now there's going to be lots of people out there going, you know, well, what does the science show? If you want to go and figure that out, I'm sure there's lots of studies that look at meditation and the benefits it has, the proven benefits on your brain chemistry, on cortisol levels, on all sorts of things. But for me, what I'm interested in this year is saying, do these things add to my well-being? Do these things add to my success, or do they take away from it? If they add to it, I'm going to continue doing them. If they take away from it, I'm going to remove it from my life. So that's meditation. It's all about consistent failure, recognizing and observing the failure, observing the feelings you have when you're telling yourself those stories, and not being judgmental, not being hard on yourself, just consistently returning back to focusing on your breathing. So, if you've got 10 minutes spare, go and check out one of the guided meditations below, give it a click, and let me know how you get on. I've been meditating again consistently since the start of this year, so it's only 3 or 4 days, and I'm already feeling the benefits. I think there's a lot more to come, but I'm already feeling the benefits of it in terms of my anxiety levels, in terms of my reactivity levels. I can be quite a reactive person, and just my general kind of happiness. So let me know how you get on with it. Let me know if you've tried it before, if you haven't. If you suffer with anxiety, if you suffer with any of these things, let me know if it has an impact. It works for me, and I'm going to continue doing it, and I'll document anything that I find with the meditation as I go through this process over the next year. But I want to hear about your stories too, so let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to hit subscribe, because we're going to be exploring lots more of these things. Meditation, ice baths, doing a backflip. I don't know what we're going to be doing. It's going to be crazy, but I'm looking forward to going on the journey with you. So I'll see you on the next one.